There certainly were those moments where I didn't know what the future held for us.
A firefighter who fell and was seriously injured on the job starts a new chapter, and he inspired a little boy along the way.
We were expecting to have him another 10 years, and he's just gone overnight. It's so sad.
Star the reindeer has died. We look at his legacy and why there may never be another reindeer in downtown Anchorage.
Boundary change. 1,000 Fairbanks students will have to attend new schools next year. Tonight, district leaders explain the decision.
And winter weather is hanging on while it feels like spring in other parts of Alaska. I'll go over the forecast.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
He was critically injured after a fall from a fire truck ladder in 2017, but now his story is inspiring others.
Lauren Maxwell was with the firefighter today as he returns to the job he loves.
Firefighter Ben Schultz
Absolutely.
is excited. Schultz will be working full-time at the Anchorage Fire Department to coordinate EMS and fire training for crews across the city.
He just has a vast knowledge and experience that he can bring to the line again and really just bring that energy back to our training.
Schultz was hired by the department in 2011, but in 2017, he fell off a ladder during a training exercise and was critically injured. He doesn't remember the early days when he couldn't walk, talk, or breathe on his own.
No, I basically have a gap of any memories where I was still in a semi-vegetative state.
Schultz's traumatic brain injury meant starting over, but he never gave up the fight. Now he's an inspiration to others, including this 8-year-old Wasilla boy named Paxson, whose skull was crushed by a falling tree last March.
We held on to your story when Paxson was in the ICU.
Schultz took time out to talk with Paxson's mom from the Chicago hospital.
We just came up on a year.
Where her son is recovering.
I hope I can bring some encouragement to you for little Paxson.
Absolutely, yes. We will keep following along.
Schultz says his own children are an inspiration to keep going.
Eli and Nora are my children.
As well as his wife, Carly, of 2.5 years.
I know he is so happy to be here, and I think AFD is so happy to have him back, too.
Schultz says he's ready for the challenge.
I'm grateful for this new opportunity to serve the community of Anchorage and looking forward to the work we do here.
And glad to be back in the game. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
Ben, real hero there. Of course, we're sending him our love and wishing him well.
He was so young to go.
An Anchorage icon, Star the reindeer, was euthanized yesterday.
His caretakers, Albert Whitehead and Martha Anderson, are mourning the loss and cherishing the memories with the most famous reindeer of all.
He's special to us, but I think he's also special to the Anchorage.
Star was 8 years old. He was the 7th reindeer with the same name since the 1960s and the only male star among them. A spring-like but dusty kind of day here in Anchorage.
Yeah, winter weather hanging on in other parts of the state. Meteorologist Jackie Purcell joins us with the forecast. Jackie.
Yeah, we have some increasing clouds here in the Anchorage Bowl, but we'll be seeing that kind of dissipate again by tomorrow midday. But let's get to where we are right now. You can see those clouds out there. Nothing falling out of the clouds, and temperatures are on the mild side, 46 degrees with winds west at 5 miles per hour. As far as the daytime high, made it to 47 degrees. That's above normal. The record, though, from 1958 up to 55 degrees, 37 and also above normal temperatures into the interior. And in fact, they stayed right at 32 in Fairbanks in their current temperature. You can see some of their wet streets, 37 degrees with winds west-southwest at 8 miles per hour. They still have a winter weather advisory in that part of the state, snow as well as rain, and that will continue until 10 p.m. Much drier in the south central region, but we do have that cloud cover moving in. There is still that possibility of snow. It'll be moving up from the Gulf of Alaska across the Aleutians, gusty winds there. A storm front moving in on Thursday night into Friday brings us some April showers. They could be mixed showers with higher elevations seeing some snow, but mostly rain showers along the coast. Here's our forecast for Anchorage tomorrow. 48 degrees for a high with winds southeast 5 to 10 miles per hour. The capital city of Juneau goes all the way up to 52 degrees. Cooler in Bethel, could see some snowfall there into the early part of the day. North winds up to 20 miles per hour and a high of 30 degrees. 42 in Fairbanks. We'll have more on the forecast coming up later.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, of course, tourism is huge here. Alaska is recognized as one of the top 10 world destinations. Now, that's according to the Alaska Travel Industry Association. And tourism is a pivotal role in Alaska's economy, generating $5.6 billion in economic output.
Now, even Lisa Murkowski, the senator, has talked about her concerns because of cuts to Forest Service employees, especially in places like Mendenhall Glacier. We have Jillian Simpson with ATIA joining us tonight. Jillian, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start by talking a little money. How much does someone typically spend when they visit Alaska? What kind of impact does that have?
Well, visitors who come to Alaska aren't usually coming just for a few days for a weekend drive. It's a long-haul trip. It's a long-haul destination. And so they spend a lot of time planning, and they also spend a lot of money when they come here. And as you mentioned, there's the impact that they spend is $3.9 billion across the state throughout the course of the year. And a typical visitor is spending probably about $1,500 per person per trip.
And where do people mostly go? Do they stay in one area of the state?
No, we are a touring destination because we are so big and vast and have so many wonderful things to see. People come and they definitely travel around the state in a multimodal way. So they're flying, they're taking the train, they're using motor coaches, they're renting cars or RVs. And there's just a variety of ways that they're getting around because they want to take in as much as possible.
Well, so many ways to explore our incredible state, but independent travelers not growing at the same rate as a cruise passenger. Do you know why that is?
We are seeing a shift in our summer visitation. It's comprised of 66% of our visitors are arriving by cruise ship, which has been really great news for us because those numbers have been holding steady for the last few years, and that's our projection for this summer as well. Independent travel hasn't grown at quite the same capacity that the cruise passenger has, but we're also predicting a strong season for those visitors as well. Air capacity to Alaska is actually increasing in both Anchorage and Fairbanks by 5%.
And there are initiatives to restrict cruise ships and passengers. What's that impact?
Yeah, in some communities, there have been a couple of ballot initiatives that are trying to restrict the cruise passengers from coming. And definitely, it is something that I think is problematic for the whole state because cruise ships go to multiple ports and make multiple ports of call. They visit plenty of communities and have a significant economic impact. So the ballot initiative in Juneau was opposed by ATIA, and it was overturned because the residents there recognize the importance of our industry to their economy.
Jillian Simpson, thank you so much with ATIA. We appreciate you taking a few moments to
Thank you.
Well, 1 week after 1,000 Fairbanks students learned boundary changes will mean going to a different school next year, district leaders are now explaining their decision. They say it was based on community feedback.
One was if we wanted to go more of a minimal impact and essentially just move those students from the schools that were closing into the nearest schools and not impact any other boundaries. Or we could have a little bit more balanced approach and look at the capacities of, for example, the schools in Fairbanks and try to balance those a little bit.
And the district spokesperson says the ultimate decision came down to what impacted more people. Now, one North Pole parent, who's also the PTA president at one of the 3 elementary schools closing, said there are concerns about crowding at already chaotic pickup and drop-off lines, and for Fairbanks families in general.
People didn't realize that even if their school wasn't on the closure list, that they were going to be getting moved because they redid the boundaries for everyone. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And a district email included options like including homeschooling and requesting a transfer for their students. Well, still ahead, recognizing those who silently serve. We take a look inside the gates at the children in military families.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Well, between long separations and frequent moves, children of service members often face unique challenges.
Now this week for Inside the Gates, Quinn White gives us an inside look of how they serve and how we can serve them during the month of the military child.
Military kids are so strong, they're so resilient, but that resilience isn't automatic. It comes from these challenges that happen over and over and over again.
Active duty families move every 2 to 3 years on average, which can lead to feelings of isolation and anxiety.
Moving is hard for anyone, but the thing about military families is you're moving, but you're continuously moving away from your family, from your support systems. So you're rebuilding those over and over and over again. And as soon as they're built, it's time to pick up and leave again.
April is Month of the Military Child, a time to recognize and appreciate those who silently serve.
Well, military kids serve too. That's something that we always say here at National Military Family Association. But the thing is, you don't really hear about them much because military kids don't wear the uniform. So what Month of the Military Child is all about is shining a light on these military kids who do so much for our country every single day. It's a time for all of America to pause, take a break from thinking about the military as just the uniform and really focus on those kids.
There are a few ways civilians can help support military youth, starting with simply recognizing them.
Start talking to kids about what their story is and even finding out who those military kids and military teens are. I think one of the biggest things you can do is recognize and just honestly celebrate what they do. That's huge. Talking to your neighbors, and also the more that you know your community and you know the people around you, you're able to help them in all kinds of different ways.
Honoring all, no matter how they served. Quinn White, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's News Source app.